Hey everybody, hope that you are all well. So I wanted to make this video to talk a little bit about my lighting setup. Now, many of you know that I'm a portrait photographer and I do events sometimes. And critical to any photo, regardless of what kind of photography you're doing, is lighting. It is especially important when you are lighting a person, whether you're doing a headshot, a full body, half body, whatever the case may be. The lighting is critically important. You know, there's so many things that are communicated through just the lighting. So let's talk a little bit about my lighting setup. So at the most basic level, and just about any photographer should have a regular speed light. So my whole lighting setup, most of it is Godox. So, you know, that's really important. So this is the V850 Mark III. There's the V Pros and things of that nature with the ball here. So those are much better. I had this one for a couple of years. So, you know, but I much prefer the ones that have a battery pack, because the recycle speed is much faster. So, and any kind of system that you use, whether you're using Godox or Fodex or you know, any of the popular ones, Westcott, all of them have some sort of very similar products. So speed light is critical. And one of the reasons I like this one, I really like it when they include these little foot stands too, because then you can take it, have it stand up. I've gotten some really nice portraits of photos where you have a little bit of light coming from under in the background. And so you can do some nice little creative things with this. So this is something that you want to have. And I also like to have that when I am on a shoot and I'm doing natural light, but sometimes you might need a little bit of speed light to put some additional light into your image. So one of the reasons I like that. Now, the other things that I have is I have of course, the AD200. And so Godox actually does make they have the Pro, and then they have the Pro 2 AD200. So they all work just about the same. There's a couple of basic differences, but this has been critical to my lighting setup for the last several years. So AD200 is another one that I have. Now, the newest member of my lighting setup is the AD300. This one has been out for about 4 or 5 years, but I recently acquired this. This is a very powerful light that provides that much more lighting than the AD200, and so that's one of the reasons I like this one. You can obviously mount things to it, but it's still small enough to where it works the same way that my AD200, where I can have the umbrella, I can put it inside the umbrella, and I can take it down very quickly. And for most things, this is about all you need. And they also use the exact same battery pack too. Well, not exactly, because you can't use this AD300 battery pack in the 200, but you can use the 200 in this one. But they both share the same charger. So this is a really good one. Now, that's it for just the lighting. But then there's the other things around it. So obviously, if you're going to have a lighting setup, you're going to need a way to trigger those lights. And then that's the other thing that I really like about if you're into one system, you're going to want to have, you're going to want to be into one system, because all of them work the same, right? You can use them to trigger the other lights. And so you can do the Godox or Fodex, or you can do Westcott. There's Pro Photo. Pro Photo is more expensive, so you kind of think about that. Think about your budget. So then you have your triggers. So I've had this XPro 2 trigger, XPro 2, XPro S2, I'm sorry, XPro 2 trigger. So I bought this and I've been using this for a while. But then earlier this year, they came out, I think it was either last year or earlier this year, they came out with the X3, which is a more digital interface. So I bought that, and that was thanks to a photographer at C2E2 that took place in Chicago earlier this year. And so you can see that, so these are my triggers, and so they work pretty well. The X3 trigger, obviously, you know, it's a digital interface. There's updates that they can send out to these. So I would prefer this would be a little bigger. But other than that, it works very well. Battery life is really good on it, and you know, it's just, you know, it's really simple. So along with that, you need to have something where your light is going to sit on. So I have these light stands, and I'll post all of this stuff in the link. I'll post all this stuff in the description of the video and some links to where you can grab this stuff. But I got these pair of light stands off of Amazon. Now, do I know what they're called? Nope, but you'll find out in the description of the video or on the side of this. Actually, let me see. K&F Concept looks like. But you can see on top of them that I added their own little attachments. Those things are solid metal, so those are going to last a long time. And this is where I put my umbrellas through for my lights. So these things are really useful. I would recommend that you can get these at a good price, but I would recommend that you not go real cheap on these. The cheaper light stands are not going to serve you very well. These go up pretty high. They're pretty stable. They handle my 8200 and an umbrella pretty well. Now I also have one of these newer Octabanks. Also have one of these newer. This is a newer one. And obviously they give you this little thing for diffusion purposes, but then you also, you know, one of the things I like about this is that it does come down, but like the real benefit of this is, as you can see, there's that gold material, the silver material on the inside, where you can, where it will fill up and then come out the other way and hit your subject, and then you have the diffusion on there, so it helps to make the light source bigger. And when the light source is bigger, it's softer, and that's the kind of light that we like to see. That's the kind of light that I like to use in my portraits. And one thing about these K&F Concept things and the way that they bend down in this one, this newer thing, is that I can take all of this and I can fit it into a large suitcase, so I can get it on a plane with no problem without having an extra bag. So that's one of the things. You can get yourself a bag. You have them put that as your check bag, and you can fit all of the stuff in there, because I can put a couple of days worth of clothes in there, shoes, other stuff, and these light modifiers. Now I do have another light modifier that's a lot bigger from Godox. It is also a umbrella type concept, and so that is something that I would also recommend. So that is my lighting setup. I think that these are like some critical things that you would want to have for your photography setup if you're doing portrait photography. And obviously, whatever kind of photography you're doing, you need to figure out what kind of lighting system that you need for your purposes. If you're doing video work, you're going to want to have a different type of lighting setup, or a constant light setup. And that's the one thing. If you're doing any kind of photography, if you're doing portraits or whatever, you're likely going to want to have multiple kinds of lighting setups. Now, all of mine is flash based, and because I have lenses and things like that that work pretty well, even when it's dark situations outside, it does work for me. But I have friends who are using, I'm actually looking at some different lighting, constant lighting setups. There's all kind of wands and things that they have, but you have to find what works for you. I'm more interested in having stuff that is not so bulky, that's going to be powerful enough to handle the kind of things that I'm trying to do. So that's it. Thanks for checking us out, and we'll see you in the next one.